have recording? Wonderful. Thank you all for being here, and we really do welcome you right as you are. Maybe today you're feeling really good. Maybe this morning is just a really wonderful start to your day, and you're feeling like our class of 2021 participants, celebratory. We welcome that, and we're glad you're here with us. You could be anywhere in the world, and you're here right with us to learn more about Fast Pitch. And we're all here for a common reason. It's because we love Tucson, and the work that we do supports the people and the causes that we care about. And we know that nonprofits are being asked to do a lot more with a lot less. And there's been an increase in demand for your services, and nonprofits are really bearing the brunt and creating the solutions to our most critical issues right here in Southern Arizona. So we're committed to you and our nonprofit community, and we're here to make it help you thrive and push your mission and vision forward. I wanted to start off by sharing with you the spirit of Fast Pitch. And I'm going to do something this morning. I'm going to go right ahead and I'm going to ask if someone in the audience wants to read this poem. So I'm looking through faces. You can either unmute yourself or you can raise your hand. I'm going to try to capture you all, but I'd like someone to kick us off this morning. Is there anyone who's willing? I see Autumn's raising her hand. Autumn, come on off mute and read this poem for us, please.
Together we will create brave space, because there's no such thing as a safe space. We exist in the real world. We all carry scars, and we have all caused wounds. In this space, we see voices that fight to be heard elsewhere. We call each other to more truth and love. We have the right to start somewhere and continue to grow. We have the responsibility to examine what we think we know. We will not be perfect. It will not always be what we wish it to be, but it will be our brave space together, and we will work on it side by side. An invitation to Brave Space by Mickey.
Autumn, thank you so much for reading that. Appreciate that. We're all busy today, but I think it's really important for us to slow down for a moment. And we're going to invite you into a brave space through Fast Pitch. We want to share that with you now. And this poem really captures the heart of Fast Pitch. We are going to bring our community together to solve big challenges. And we're going to call each other to more truth and love as we do that. And we're going to enter this brave space side by side. Thanks for being here. What's our agenda today? So we are going to take a group photo. This is my reminder to do so because I forgot earlier before we started sharing the screen. So I'm going to take a photo of us, all of us, to capture this moment. We're going to look at who SVP is and who SVP Tucson is and the impact we made last year with Fast Pitch. We're going to meet Ray Wells from TMM Family Services and Margot DiConcini from Trot. And then we're going to get into the nitty gritty of Fast Pitch 2022 and then open it up for a Q&A so we can answer all the questions that you guys have today. So without further ado, I am going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to take a group photo. So if you don't mind, and if you're willing, go ahead and put your face on the screen. And I'm going to count us down to 3. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Thank you. This is wonderful. This is community in action. And I appreciate all of you taking that picture with us. Okay, so I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. Thanks, friends, for hanging with me today as we learn more about Fast Pitch. It's my pleasure to introduce to you today a couple people on this call. I'm Brittany Battle. I'm the program manager, and I'm going to be here with you throughout this process to help you as you navigate around whether you want to apply for this opportunity. And if you get accepted in, I'll be there along the way to support you in your journey. I also want to acknowledge that Sierra Garcia is on this call with us. She is our CEO. Sarah Simpson is with us. If you can see her and she's waving, you can see her there. Sarah Simpson is our participant chair this year. She will be supporting our participants throughout this journey as well. Sandra Carter is a co-chair for our Fast Pitch Coordinating Committee. And if you can see her on your screen, she might be smiling there, waving there for you. And if there's anyone else on the call that's on our team that I didn't see jump in, welcome and thanks for being here. Without further ado, I'm going to kick it over to our CEO, Sierra Garcia, to share a little bit more with you guys about who we are at SVP.
Well, hello, everyone. It's really nice to see you here. And Brittany and I are tag teaming on the tech front. So Brittany, if you'll go ahead and keep watching that waiting room, we've had more people joining. So I just want to give you a quick overview of who Social Venture Partners is, and then we're going to spend the bulk of this time today really talking to you about our Fast Pitch program. So SVP is an international network, and we were actually founded in Seattle in 1994 by a gentleman named Paul Brainerd. And he sold his software company to Adobe, and he found himself 40-something years old and an unexpected millionaire, a situation I've not found myself in, but would love to experience. But instead of retirement, he really set out to make an impact. And so he created the Social Venture Partners model. And what we are is we are this growing community of engaged philanthropists who are dedicated to building the capacity, the strength, and the impact of nonprofits in addressing social problems. And one of the things that rings true to this day is something Paul Brainerd said in 1994 when he was founding us, is this is a more engaged giving style. And if it's done right, both sides end up with more in the end. And we have certainly seen this to be true, especially within our Fast Pitch program. So to date, we have 40 affiliates in 9 countries. We have actually over 3,400 partners globally. We can't keep up with these slides because of our growth. And we've provided well over $63 million in grants to 770 nonprofits around the world. So I think the beautiful thing about this is that we can bring best practices and really innovative ideas that are happening all around the world to this Tucson community that we all know and love. And we practice something called venture philanthropy. So the idea behind it is it's a business approach for social impact. And what we do is we leverage contributions of money, professional expertise, and influence from the private sector, from well-meaning and caring individuals from all around our community to grow the most promising solutions and leadership potential in the social sector, which is all of you. And we believe in nonprofits. So we know that you are on the front lines of solving the greatest social challenges of our times. So our work at SVP is all about supporting nonprofits. We invest in organizations by giving unrestricted grant dollars. So the money that you receive if you participate in Fast Pitch is unrestricted. We invest in people by providing nonprofit employees with access to top-notch professional development. Truly, the trainers that we bring in for Fast Pitch are the best of the best. We have leaders from large corporations, locally and nationally, who say our training is the best they've ever seen. And we invest in community. And we do that by building relationships between nonprofits and philanthropists so that your work can be sustained over the long term. Essentially, we work together to make transformational change. So I want to introduce you to our staff team. Starting from kind of the left of the screen, you've got Elisa Hayward. She is our operations and administrative manager. Moving on, you've got Brittany, who is our program manager and is in charge of Fast Pitch. That's the name and face you're going to see the most of through this process. You've got me there in the center. I'm just so honored to be able to lead this organization and work with such a phenomenal team. You've got Hattie Groskind, who is our development and engagement coordinator, and John Peter Wilhite, who is our director of community impact. So right now you've got Brittany and I on the call, but I want you to know that all of this work is supported by a really stellar staff team. And so throughout the process, you'll probably have a chance to get to know them. So with that, I'm going to pass it back to Brittany to talk to you about Fast Pitch.
Thank you, Sarah. What is Fast Pitch? Okay. What is it? We hear it makes an impact. We hear it's a wonderful experience, but what is it? We know that past participants have described FastPitch as invaluable, giving them greater confidence and effectiveness. But really at the heart of it, it's about building relationships. At SVP, we believe in the power of building relationships. Our participants build relationships with mentors, donors, with each other, and all of this strengthens our community. We also bring resources. We sure do. It's no secret that nonprofits need more money. So we double down on our commitment to bring more resources right into the hands of nonprofits. And it's about resilience. We spend a lot of time talking with our community to really understand what their greatest need is, what your greatest need is. And we learned that beyond financial support, nonprofits were wanting support with capacity building, to strengthen their efforts, and to create lasting solutions. So we're increasing our efforts to help nonprofits build resilience. And it's about awareness. We're here to support you and to help you improve your fundraising and messaging skills. And we want to introduce your mission and your story and your vision to the community. We've heard from past participants, and we know that awareness in the community is really important. So we're elevating our platform, and we're making it more accessible and providing more awareness for nonprofits and ample opportunities for nonprofits to share their story. We do this through structured learning workshops, practice sessions. That's lights, camera, action, practice sessions. Feedback, so feedback from mentors, feedback from judges, feedback from each other. Feedback really helps people distill and get through the process of content development and figuring out their pitch and their story. Coaching, so one-on-one coaching support and mentorship. So all of this support is given to you as you enter our program. And last but not least, donor connections. We invite donors and participants to really get to know one another so that they can discuss and make an impact together. Let's talk about that impact. We made big impact in 2021. And you might see a lot of us on this side of the virtual screen smiling a lot in these next couple slides, because it's pretty wonderful. We set out to make some big goals last year. We decided we were going to increase efforts to build nonprofit resilience, and we did just that. We expanded our training program. We created a 2-phase training program with a centerpiece showcase event in the middle, and that was the first time we'd ever done that. And our training program in action through COVID, we did a virtual training program. We increased financial support to our nonprofits through awards, a matching grant, and community support. We increased that donor connection. In phase 2, we really intentionally built opportunities for connection with donors. And we aligned with our community's greatest needs. We represented on-the-ground needs, and 7 out of 10 of our presenters were Black, Indigenous, or people of color. This slide makes me just want to scream and shout. I love looking at this slide. Doesn't matter how many times a day. This is the impact we made last year, $219,000 to our 10 nonprofits. And that number is increasing as we learn about new donations that were given to nonprofits that came through FastPitch directly as a result of FastPitch. And then celebrate with us. Over the last 6 years, we have made a huge impact in our community. 78 nonprofits have gone through our training program. Over 3,000 people have attended the main event, and that has now expanded into a global audience. And over $1 million invested into our community directly as a result of FastPitch. Woo! And here are the faces of the FastPitch class of 2021. This right here, these are the people that stepped up and made an impact last year. And these are the faces that made our community come together around solutions last year. Can you picture your face here? Do you want to be a part of the class of 2022? You'll see lots of friendly reminders here to apply by September 17th. At SVP Tucson, we take feedback serious. And here's one of the questions we asked our last year's class about how this experience affected them personally. We know that FastPitch affected their nonprofit. how did they get affected personally? They told us that donor connections was really important to them, 43% almost. It was the most important, followed by pitch development training. And there was a tie for marketing strategy and mentorship. We learned that our two-phase approach was highly valued. So I could tell you all day about how Fast Pitch impacted our nonprofits, but why don't we hear it from two people that experienced it firsthand? So it's my pleasure to introduce you both, Margot DiConcini and Ray Wells. Margot's from Trot, and Ray Wells is from TMM Family Services. And each of them are going to share how Fast Pitch impacted their organization and them personally. And then we're going to open it up and give you guys some time to ask them questions. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen so we can see, we're going to start off with Margot so we can see Margot full screen. Margot, thank you. Welcome.
Hi,
Tell us
everyone.
about your experience.
Hi, everyone. It's really great to see some familiar faces and all of the new faces who are interested in social venture partnership with the Fast Pitch program. My name is Margot. I'm the development director for therapeutic writing of Tucson. And boy, I can't express in the right kind of words how much the Fast Pitch program meant to me personally, but also to our organization. I think for our organization, it really brought us into a new light. We're growing a lot, and so it was really wonderful for us to get our name back out there and share the wonderful things that we do. And it's also brought in new people to us. So we gained quite a few volunteers and new donors who watched the Fast Pitch process. But for me personally, like when Brittany, emailed in the first time, they're like, well, I just, we have a couple more questions, but it was really a shock to be accepted and put into the Fast Pitch process. Like, it was almost like a dream come true for me. Like the professional development that it allowed, and then my own personal development was really a great experience. It really brought me out of the box and allowed me to be comfortable being uncomfortable. It's a great time to grow and be kind of explore and expand your skills in your career. And if being in a nonprofit is a career for you, this is a great opportunity to expand on that mission, not only for you, but for your organization. I'd say that if going into the program, some of the biggest takeaways was to use every resource that is available to you. So not only in like Fast Pitch, but in life in general, use every resource that's available to you. If you have people there that are going to be helping you, you better have their phone number and texting them every day, because if you don't, that's a wasted resource. But the people who are in Fast Pitch and social venture partnership are great. They are super supportive and are always there. I could email Brittany at like midnight and I'd still get an email response back. But just use all of your resources, use everything that you can, and don't forget to practice. If you get into here and you want to do it, don't forget to practice.
Thank you so much, Margot. Let's open it up for questions. You can either chat a question in the chat bar. So Margot, open up that chat bar and just be looking there, and you can kind of answer some questions there. Or if you want to come off mute and just ask her a question, please do. And it's okay if you don't have questions too. Go ahead, Anthony.
Thanks. Margot, I would be curious to know what you found to be the biggest challenge about your participation.
So two. One, I was my biggest challenge. I was my biggest barrier to getting myself over being uncomfortable. This is, like I was talking about, this is definitely a moment of growth for you personally and professionally. But if you can't get comfortable being uncomfortable, you're not going to do very well. You'll do well. I mean, everyone does well, but you'll really see success when you get over yourself and just let it go. Be vulnerable, and it's okay, because we're all being vulnerable. It's a great experience to do it together. The second barrier, I think, this is, or the second challenge, I suppose, is carving out the time to do it. So I have a very, very busy schedule. I'm involved in a lot of things in the community, but being able to schedule myself time to sit down and work on my pitch, to make appointments and meet with my mentors, or to even find the time to practice myself. I found that one of the best times to practice was in my car driving to work. I'd set my phone up and start recording, and then you just got to hear yourself talk, and you got to see yourself talk. But finding the time, make sure that you have time to do what you need to do to help support you in this, in fast pitch.
Wonderful advice, Margot. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. I'd like to now introduce you to Ray Wells from TMM Family Services. Ray, share with us what this was like for your organization and for you personally.
Good morning, everyone. My experience was actually, it was awesome. From a professional standpoint and for TMM Family Services, it actually shined a light on what we do for our organization. Before Fast Pitch, I think we were we weren't well known in the community, and having this opportunity to be a part of Fast Pitch for TMM was huge. It gave us a new audience that we could share our message with. And I think that was probably the biggest thing for our organization. We were able to receive donations and grants, and that was all great. But I think the exposure to the Tucson community was the most impactful thing from TMM. For me, on a personal side, the biggest thing for me was probably the donor engagement, but also the pitch. I had had experience in development as a development officer before and fundraising, and to be able to go through that pitch training and to really drill down your message and make it concise and very powerful in a short amount of time was huge, because you don't always have an opportunity to sit down with someone and have hours upon hours to explain who you are, what you do, and how you help people. So having an opportunity to learn how to give that pitch in 3 minutes and basically sell TMM to anyone, I felt was huge for me from a development standpoint, personally. I would say this: if I could give any advice to anyone, and I echo everything that Margot said, the biggest thing I would say is it's a process, and enjoy the process. It's going to be a journey. If you are thinking about being a part of this program, don't think about it. Just go ahead and fill out the application, go through the questions. I can remember doing my application last year. It probably changed 5 times. Just, well, I want to paint us in the biggest light. And it also makes you think about, the process starts before with the application. When I say it's a process going through, it makes you think about how you want to portray your organization. And then you go into Fast Pitch and they teach you how to do those things even better and more effectively. So I would say definitely apply. If you do the pitch, it's going to change. Be ready. And what Margot said earlier in terms of being your own worst critic or your own worst enemy, being able to carve out that time. I have like a 4-foot mirror in my bathroom, and I became best friends with my face in that mirror, rehearsing my pitch over and over and over. I also want to echo what you said about the staff with Fast Pitch. Everyone was super accommodating. For me personally, I contracted COVID during Fast Pitch. So I missed a couple of sessions that were in person, the very few that we had last year during COVID. But Brittany was very accommodating. Everyone was able to kind of rearrange things, and I was able to still be a part of it. It felt like I didn't miss a beat, and it came out on the end, and I thought it was great. It was the best that I could do at the time, so I thought everything was great.
Ray, thank you so much. It's so good to hear your laugh again. I missed your laugh, buddy. We want to open it up for questions now too. You can chat some questions if you'd like, or if you'd like to come off mute. What questions do you have for Ray? or just in general, maybe for either Margot or Ray. Margot is still here as well. So if you have any questions, just wait another second here. And you can always find Ray and Margot. Ray is at TMM Family Services. So if you have a question that pops up and you want that firsthand experience, go look them up. Same with Margot. She's over at Trot Therapeutic Writing of Tucson. So go look her up as well. Margot, Ray, thanks again for being here.
Absolutely.
I think Rob has a question.
Oh.
Thank you.
Yeah, for both individuals, I would love to hear, aside from your individual growth and the money that was donated as a result of Fast Pitch, I would just love to hear from both of you what has changed for your agency after Fast Pitch.
Ray, do you want to go first?
You know, like I said, I think we just do things in a different way. And I wouldn't say it's been wholesale changes, but we just took little things like our marketing and how we do things on whether it's social media or things that we send out. It has a little bit of that fast pitch training in it. I'm lucky enough that I do most of our mail appeals and everything that goes out. So I remember, oh, they said to do this, or, oh, you can do this. In our messaging, even when I send out appeals, they're not as wordy as they used to be. It's very concise, show a couple graphics and get people to be able to pull them in. It's more my goal versus trying to give them everything all at once and overwhelm someone. So I think that's probably the biggest thing is our messaging has gotten a lot more streamlined.
Yeah, I think there's so Trot has been around since 1974, and there is history upon history upon history. And it was so hard, I think, in the pitch portion of it to take all of that and to put it into just 3 minutes. And just like Ray was saying, you know, I kind of went through a lot of the different program materials and even my speeches to other people or the information that I give, and have really streamlined a lot of that to make it more concise and to the point, and using more emotional driven words, things that will really get the point across in a smaller way, but still hold the impact. I think also the other portion of it was I talk a lot about my personal and professional development. It made me a lot more confident in talking with people about our program and being able to just put it out there, and rejection is okay. Like some of the different like post Zoom meetings that we went to were a lot about creating the connection with donors and the rejection pieces of it. And I think that the schooling portions after Fast Pitch were really helpful for me to be able to continue to reach out into the community and make a bigger impact for Trot.
Thank you both.
Thank you both. Thank you.
I
Rob,
saw
for
a
your
question.
Yeah, go ahead,
Oh,
Ray.
I'm sorry. I saw a question in the chat that said, what was the biggest piece of feedback that I received? And it was for either one of us. I think that, I think actually most of the feedback I got was peer driven. It's funny that Margot and I were the two that volunteered to come on today, because I feel like we were kind of kindred spirits in a way, because we seemed to always be paired in some of the breakout sessions and the workshops. And then even when we had to do our pitch and our recordings, we were kind of back to back. And I can say this, for me, it was the first time I did my pitch out loud, it was horrible. It was bombed. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. And all the feedback I got was positive. Everything was positive. It was like, no, you know what? You have good bones. You just kind of got to find a way to massage it and rework it. Try this, try that, and make it your own. I think that was the best feedback I got, was to make the connection you're trying to make with someone your own. And I'll say this, kudos to Margot, because like I said, we were kind of going through the process together. I remember her first pitch and what she said earlier about it being very wordy and very long. We got timed for 3 minutes. And Margot, I hope you don't mind me sharing this. Margot's was a little long. But I remember being in the room, in the studio when she recorded her final pitch. And I was just sitting there, I was kind of looking down, trying to be quiet. And she got going. I had to look up and was like, wow, this is awesome. The process had gone through, but like I said, we kind of were together in a lot of things. But that, like she said, it's using the resources and making the best of everything that you have. But like I said, they're available. So all the feedback you're going to get is always going to be positive when someone's trying to help you to shine a light on your organization. There are more coming up.
Thanks for sharing all that, Ray. That is definitely true. I think my biggest piece of feedback was, so we're all in the places that we're at for a reason. And a lot of it is, I mean, you got to start with why. Why are you in the spot that you're in? Feel the emotion, let it go. Like, this isn't just, I mean, you're just not just going to be standing up there talking. You're telling your story. You're telling why you're there and why you believe in what you're doing. And that was probably one of the hardest pieces for me. I don't want to seem vulnerable and I don't want to seem emotional. But when you get up there and you're telling your story and you cry a little bit, that's how you know that you're there for the right reason. You got to remember why you're there. Put your heart and soul in it, because that's what's going to help your pitch. So the biggest piece of feedback that I got was to just remember why you're there. Why? And there's another question in the chat box for what was the time commitment? I would say that I attempted to carve out at least a couple hours a day. So maybe about 15 hours a week for practicing or writing, or it was really helpful to get some friends together and practice with friends, or give them phone calls and to talk with them over the phone, or give your pitch and get feedback that way. But I would say that you should really dedicate a good amount of time for it. It's not a project that you can procrastinate. It's not one of those, I'll think about it the day before projects. You got to start from the go. Like, when they say go, you go. So I'd say that about 10 to 15 hours a week or more was a good part for me.
How about for you, Ray?
I would, that's interesting. I think I just tried to work a little bit every single day on something, whether that was memorizing my pitch or writing it. I think the hardest part, and what I spent the most time on initially, was just trying to find the connection and the why. And then once I got that, to be able to write it and see, my wife has done drama. So it's like, okay, does this sound good? So I would probably say, I probably spent maybe 6 to 8 hours. I didn't spend quite as much as Margot, but that, when I say that, that means I'm actually like doing something sitting down. But there were days when I'm in the shower, like repeating my pitch 5 times, or I'm in the car, or I'm sitting at my desk. I don't necessarily count those times as working on it, but it was constantly on my mind, and you just have to be engaged with it. I know that probably the biggest thing that I didn't do, that I wish I would have done more, was to interact with my mentors. We would meet, and then I kind of go off on my own for a week and then meet again. And I wish I probably would have used them more, because they were great. My 2 mentors were absolutely awesome. So they kind of let me do my thing, and I'd say, hey, here's what I'm thinking. They give their feedback, and then we may meet again in a week. So I would say it has to be constant. It needs to be consistent. So whatever time, if you're going to say, hey, I'm going to commit to an hour a day, okay, that's 7 hours a week. Just make sure you're consistent with that time. So I would say that was probably the biggest thing for me, was I just wanted to spend time on it every day, doing something during that process.
Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Margot. Your experience matters, and we're so glad that you're here to share it with us. So everybody give a wave to Margot and Ray. Thanks for being here. Make sure you follow up with them if you have further questions for them specifically.
Good luck. Good luck.
Hi, guys.
Good luck. Yes. Let's get back into it. Let's talk about Fast Pitch 2022. This is why you're here now. What's it going to look like? So this is our timeline overview for you. This is what the program looks like at the highest level. we're in our application period right now. So get on our website, check out our application guide, check out our application, and please talk with your team. This is something that you don't want to do in a silo. You want this to be something that you bring with those that help you push your mission forward. Then we're going to step into our selection process. So once application period closes, we step into selection, and we have a selection committee, which is made up of a diverse group of community members that review submissions and select our 10 nonprofit organizations. The first day of school is what we call orientation. That happens in December. So we get our mentors oriented, we get our participants oriented, and then boom, come January, we kick off our training. And like Sierra mentioned earlier, it is really the best of the best during this 5-month-long training period. That centerpiece event that you see there in red, that's the showcase, that's the pitch event. That's the big day that you get on stage and you share your pitch, your 3-minute pitch. Our selection criteria. So last year, we changed our selection criteria in order to meet the needs of our community. So this year we added a criteria. We added a 2-gen approach. What is a 2-gen approach? 2-gen is an innovative approach that focuses on both parents and their children so that together they may unleash their full potential. So we've added that as an option. So nonprofits must meet one or more of these areas. Another area of focus is to serve historically marginalized, underserved, under-resourced communities or populations, actively work to promote social justice, including racial and gender justice, or those that support people who are experiencing mental or physical, financial, educational adversity as a result of COVID-19. So you can be more than one, but nonprofits just need to meet one or more of these areas. And don't forget, applications close on the 17th of September. So make sure you make a note in your calendar. So our training program looks a lot like last year's training program. We've stayed along with this innovative 2-phase approach because we know it works and it's impactful. So in phase 1, our participants get the pitch development. They have practice sessions, 3. They have mentorship. They get paired with 2 mentors and private coaching with the pitch trainer. Then March 31st, save that date, everybody, is our main event. That's our pitch event showcase. And then we enter into phase 2. And in phase 2, donor connections, marketing strategy, and newly added coaching in phase 2. So participants will also receive private coaching in donor connections and marketing strategy. And then the bonus, in phase 2 only, participants get to invite in somebody else from the organization to join with them to get donor connection training, and exposure and engagement with donors and marketing strategy and coaching. Sierra mentioned before that our trainers really are the best of the best, and I can't express that enough. They really are. We start off with Aaron Henney. He's a Los Angeles-based playwright, storyteller, corporate trainer, artistic director. He's done works with everybody, Pixar, DreamWorks, and more. He guides our participants through their pitch training and also conducts a post-mortem workshop after the event to help participants distill feedback and debrief. As we enter phase 2, Graham Hoffman will kick off the donor connection training. He's the CEO of Jewish Community Foundation and Federation, Jewish Community Federation, and will be the trainer for donor connections. He has expertise in major gifts, endowment, multi-year commitments, and donor relations. His training teaches participants how to form real deep relationships with donors and increase funding for their organizations. Monique James, she concludes our entire training program. She's an Army veteran, content strategist, live stream broadcaster. She's a published artist, columnist, business strategist. She's really wonderful. And she specializes in content clarity to help nonprofits build awareness, establish credibility, and to build a profitable digital footprint. So that is our trainers for this upcoming year. So presenter qualities. Who will your organization invite to be the presenter for Fast Pitch? So who is the face of your organization? that will go through this experience and help your organization thrive. We trust you to make an investment in your employees. And this could be an executive leader, an up and coming leader, a key member of your team. Presenters must be paid employees of your organization, but there are no tenure requirements. But if you are an organization that has 100% volunteers, that's okay. You can have a volunteer member as your presenter. We also are looking for presenters who are focused, creative, committed, interested, dedicated. So when you heard Ray and Margot talk earlier about what it took for them to go through this experience, remember that as you're trying to select who's going to be the face of your organization, because it does take a lot of grit to go through this program. Excuse me. So digesting feedback and using feedback is really a necessary part of growing and expanding. And we know it can be painful sometimes. So we've built in feedback and practice sessions into our program to help participants be comfortable with being uncomfortable, as Margot said, and to help you carve out the time and to really understand what you need in order to practice for the big showcase event. So you'll get feedback from your mentors. You'll get feedback from a judge panel that we have during our practice sessions. You'll get private coaching. Maybe if you get your friends together or your spouse or loved ones, they'll probably give you feedback too. And so we help you distill that feedback and we help you process the experience. And throughout the training program, we utilize video recording, discussions, and really ask you to challenge yourself. So don't forget, applications close on the 17th, so a little less than a month away. We have selected a wonderful new venue for our main event, and our main event is the 31st of March, and this is the Health Science Innovation Building at the U of A. This building was built in October of 2018, state of the art. It has integrative technology built throughout. And this space will allow us to host both an in-person event or a virtual hybrid event, depending what our health situation is. So fingers crossed, we'll be able to have a really wonderful in-person hybrid event that will be broadcasted globally. We are committed to you. We're committed to your mission and the work that you do, and we're committed to our community. And so we're bringing in 10 nonprofits. We are going to call all of our friends and those that support the work we do to come out and support you in the work that you do. And we're going to encourage a lot of community donations and support for you. We're giving out $100,000 on stage. It's a lot of fun. On March 31st, we will hand out the big checks and $100,000. So do look forward to that. And our grants are unrestricted. As Sierra mentioned before, we don't tell you how to spend the money. It's yours to spend and to utilize. And we provide mentorship, coaching, and camaraderie over competition. This is a huge part of Fast Pitch, is the spirit of Fast Pitch, is camaraderie, because it takes a community to heal a community and to unite a community. So in a nutshell, what does all this mean? Application period, it's open, it's going. Tell everybody, submit your application. It's via email. You can choose a Word document, or you can choose, we have a fillable PDF. You're going to email it to us. If you have any questions along the way or trouble with that or accessibility, please let me know, and we'll make sure that you can get your application submitted. And always be sharing this opportunity, please. Keep in touch with us. Follow us on your favorite social media channel if that's your favorite way to keep up with us. This is supposed to say, instead of social media, website. So hop on our website to get the scoop. And if you have questions, please save my email. Shoot me an email. I'll be available to you anytime that you have questions. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen now. We're going to open it up to a Q&A. We have about 15 minutes or so. We are going to end at 11 o'clock. So this is your time now. You can come off mute. You can throw your questions in the chat. Again, my name is Brittany Battle and Sierra Garcia is here. And we also have Sandra Carter and Sarah Simpson, who are part of our team, our coordinating committee. And so we will allow questions for the team for Fast Pitch. And
Brittany, we got a question in the chat that maybe you could answer. Someone was asking about what the process looks like this year, I think both for the program and the event. Are we doing in-person, remote, live, recorded? So will you just kind of walk through how we're thinking about that?
absolutely. So community safety is number one. It is our priority. So we are very closely watching at all times. Right now, we have most of our program will have hybrid options. So there will be in-person pieces, there will be virtual options as well. There are some events that we have that are in person only. So when we think about those practice sessions where you're on a stage and you have lights, and you have camera and all that going on, that is in person. So we are capable of doing a completely virtual programming as we did it last year, but we're hoping that we don't have to. So I hope that answers your question, and we'll guide you along the way. Sandra, did I see a question from you, or did you want to also piggyback on that response? Please do.
I wanted to piggyback, if that's okay, and just say that last year we learned we could do this virtually, but our in-person components were done very safely. For example, our practice sessions, we did 2 in-person and 1 virtual, and the 2 in-person, people were staggered coming in, so we only had 1 person on stage at a time. We were outside, very far apart, and masked. So there is a way to do this that creates safety for everyone, and we want everyone to feel very safe. So please be open with communicating what feels safe to you and what does not. Thank you, Brittany.
I appreciate you adding to that. Thank you. What other questions do you guys have? This is your time, and there's no such thing as a silly question. So please just bring it.
So Brittany, one question I actually received from a few people in private chat that I'll just answer in case other people are wondering this is about the size of the organization. So is this a place for very small organizations? Is this a place for very large organizations? And the answer is yes. There is no limitation based on the size of your organization. So we have had large organizations with, multi-million-dollar budgets and fairly robust staffing, to very small organizations, even some kind of startup nonprofits, but who've already established their 501c3 with small budgets, sometimes no staffing. So we recognize that nonprofits of all sizes are really innovating and creating solutions to the social challenges that we care the most about. So we're open regardless of size. If you have a specific question about your organization, but definitely reach out to Brittany or myself, and we'll help kind of guide you through thinking about that.
What other questions do you have about the application process, the application itself, maybe just the training program? We're here to support your process in determining if this Fast Pitches for you and your organization. This might be the time I start asking you guys questions, where I start to say, hey, what is exciting to you about Fast Pitch? Why are you here?
Brittany, real quickly, we just got a question in the chat bar, so I want to bring that one up. Someone asked, is this a place for presenters who have had no experience in fundraising or marketing, and would one feel like a fish out of water? So that's a really, really good question. Especially because you just met Margot and Ray, who both work in development. And so this is a place for people of all different, kind of roles in nonprofits. We have people who are working directly in programs, who go through Fast Pitch, who've never been on the marketing or fundraising side. We have everyone from social workers and people doing the direct services, all up to executive directors and CEOs. So we really ask your organization to think about who is the, maybe an employee you want to invest in, who is someone that feels really passionate about this work and wants to connect with our community. And then Brittany mentioned this, but in phase 2, where we get into the donor connections and the marketing strategies, you're able to bring in another individual from your organization. So if you're a program person and you go through the training and you enter into phase 2, you could bring a marketing person, or if you don't have a marketing person, you could bring your executive director, or you could bring a board member in so that more people in your organization get trained.
Yes, I like your guys' questions better. Keep bringing them. What other thoughts or questions do you have? We're here till 11 o'clock, so feel free to just continue to hang with us. As other people might bring up questions, you're welcome to stay. You're welcome to go enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.
Brittany, it looks like Rob has raised his hand.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you for hosting this meeting. Can you describe how the mentors and coaching are assigned and what that process looks like?
Sandra, would you like to answer that question? I call on Sandra because last year she was our mentor chair. And so she took care of our mentors throughout their process. Sure.
Thank you, Brittany, and thank you for the question, Rob. The mentoring process is one of the keystones of Fast Pitch. It's so vital and important. So basically every participant will get paired with 2 different mentors and work as a team together. We pair them based on a lot of different variables. We want to get you the best support possible. So we think about what the background of each mentor is and how your personalities might match. But I have to tell you, I've just heard some of the most heartwarming stories that come out of Fast Pitch are through the mentoring process and the connection that is built between the mentors and their participant. It's such an important thing. Did you also ask about coaching, Rob? Do you want me to tackle that as well, Brittany? Okay, so the coaching, just like it's part of the training process, and every year we've bumped it up. Last year, like Brittany was saying, we totally changed the script. We changed trainers, we built the program, we built phase 2, and we're expanding in every direction this year, well, maybe almost every direction. So more coaching, more training this year. Coaching comes into play when we have the one-on-one meetings. So the main trainer, who is Aaron Henney, who trains you for the Fast Pitch event, he is doubling the amount of one-on-one time with each participant. And we'll also have training for the mentors as well, and coaching for the mentors, because this is transformative on every level for every single participant of Fast Pitch, be it someone who gets on stage or someone who's a mentor or a volunteer. And then of course in phase 2, we're doing the same thing. There's going to be one-on-one coaching, like Brittany said, with both Monique James and with Graham Hoffman. So ramping those up as well, and very excited to see how that's going to work out.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rob. And Brittany, please feel free to add if I've left anything out.
Can't think of a single thing to add in. That was beautiful. Thank you. What other questions do you have about being a participant or the impact for your organization? Or what brought you here today? Is anybody open to sharing that?
I have a couple of questions about the application process. So it sounds like you pick 10 participating organizations. How many usually apply?
Thank you. It's somewhere between 40 and 50. Maybe we're hoping for more this year. So it's pretty good probability, depending on how many applications we get this year.
And do you have any specific advice for a nonprofit that is in startup mode? So you mentioned the 501c3, like we have visions and plans, but not a track record. Any thoughts about how a startup can make a strong application?
Yeah, I'm happy to respond to that one. The things I would think about if you're a startup and you haven't like started your programming, or if you don't have like data and impact, there's got to be a reason that you've started this. So I'd say really, make the compelling story of why this is a need. And then if you can validate the work that you're planning on doing, or maybe you've started doing, from other research, maybe not your own internal kind of data and experience, but other organizations or research out there that really validates why the approach that you are or will be taking is important.
And the other advice I would give to any startup too is just say, you're doing it, just remember you're doing a great job, right? All of you are. That's actually advice, not just for startups, but just remember you're doing great work. And it is busy and it is hard, but you matter and the work that you do really matters. What other questions do you have? It could be questions for staff or our coordinating committee, which is Sandra and Sarah here on the call, or just about the process in general. Hey, Leah.
I have kind of a question, and I think I'm looking for confirmation too. For those of us who run small nonprofits where, we're the only staff person, is it normal to have a hesitation about setting the time aside for the training and also running the organization that we're running? And what do we do? Do we just suck it up and jump in? That's what's prevented me from, I've wanted to apply for years, and that is what has prevented me from doing so. But I feel like it's such a great opportunity for our organization.
Sierra, I feel like you'd be the perfect person to answer this question as our CEO and someone who really understands intimately.
I mean, one of the things that we know is that nonprofits, regardless of your size, like we're all asked to do too much in too little time, right? Like that's just the thing. And so while I don't want to, I want to be honest, fast pitch takes time, and to really get the experience, you're going to have to dedicate time, and you will hear a range. You heard it from Ray and Margot. And so and there's people who've spent less and there's people who've spent more. So, I mean, what I can say is, to the best of your ability, I encourage everyone, to think about during that period of time. There's times in that kind of 5-month training where it's going to be more intense. Phase 2, I don't think people were spending as much time, but there are, once you get into that, like really memorizing and getting your pitch down, there is an exciting energy around it that you're going to spend more time on it. So I definitely encourage people to think about, are there things you can take off your plate? Are there ways you can adjust your life? It's, for a lot of people, it was literally practicing their pitch in the car, in the shower, while they're cooking dinner, all of those things, while they're watching their kids at the park. So how do you incorporate some of those things so they're not taking from time, but you still get that kind of practice in? And then, it's always important for, I think, all of us in every aspect of our life, just to think about, what are we prioritizing right now? So I can tell you it's a phenomenal experience, and everyone has to kind of reflect on that, for themselves. It will take time, but you'll have a lot of love and support and encouragement throughout it, including mentors who you can go to and say, I'm having a hard time figuring out how to do this in my life, who will work with you and adapt with you. And if that means a 6 a.m. coffee, meeting to work on your pitch, it means a 6 a.m. coffee meeting.
Thank you for answering, Sierra. And Leah, wonderful question. Appreciate you asking that. You showed up in a brave space today, and I appreciate that. So it's 11 o'clock. I want to respect your time and what you have going on today. So I'm just going to throw in the chat right here my email. So grab that. If you have any questions, you want to spend some more time, you want to follow up, you want to hop on a phone call, I'll do that. But just let me know. I can also email you the PowerPoint slides if you'd like them. So per request, shoot me an email, connect with me. If you want the PowerPoint slides, I'm happy to send them to you. We will also have this recording available online. So thank you, everyone, for being here. Good luck, and we will see you at Fast Pitch. Okay, stop recording.